When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou give him not warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thy hand. Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old, waste places. Thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairer of the breach, the restorer of paths to dwell in.
Los habitantes de una ciudad están atemorizados ante lo que parece ser el ataque de unos extraños seres que muchos aseguran son parecidos a brujas. Desde México, Alejandro Mendoza tiene los impactantes testimonios.
Por ejemplo, ¿por qué no siguió derecho?
Tras revisar una y otra vez el video, Jerónimo junto a los integrantes del OVNI Club Nuevo León comenzaron a notar que aquella mancha flotante lucía como una persona encorvada que vestía una túnica con capucha puntiaguda. Incluso hubo quien aseguró que parecía volar sobre una escoba. Así llegaron a una primera conclusión: tal vez aquello era una bruja.
Míralo, ahí está.
Pero esa presunta aparición era solo un caso más, hasta que el testimonio de este policía cambió el panorama.
Veo una persona vestida de negro, así con plumas, dos garras negras, así negras. Me asusto y me doy cuenta que donde la veo así, pero ella iba agachada. Entonces me hago para atrás, me meto otra vez al cuarto donde estaba y de este lado, al cerrar la puerta, venía otro.
Según él, una noche cuando vigilaba este lote de autos, recibió la visita de dos seres que volaban sobre el Panteón de Santa Catarina, ubicado a espaldas del cerro donde fue grabada la enigmática figura. 2 años antes, Leonardo Samaniego relató un encuentro similar. Curiosamente, él también era un policía.
Estaba vestido de negro y traía unos ojos grandes y tez morena. Pues ya no la alcancé a ver más. Estaba vestido de negro, traía un gorro con una punta hacia atrás. Pero no tenía nada de escoba, nada. Pues iba volando sola.
El oficial Samaniego, quien trabaja en un municipio distinto al de su colega, contó mientras era auxiliado por paramédicos que una bruja lo había atacado, dejándolo inconsciente. Los noticieros locales comenzaron a dar cuenta de otros inquietantes sucesos.
La supuesta bruja de poco más de 1,5 metros de altura.
Surgió entonces la duda de si aquellos casos tenían relación con la imagen grabada recientemente por Jerónimo y sus compañeros del OVNI Club.
Hasta ahora nadie ha podido determinar la naturaleza de ese extraño objeto o ser que fue captado justo en la cúspide de esta montaña, aunque sus características coinciden en ciertos casos con las que dieron los 2 oficiales de policía que aseguran haber tenido frente a sus propias narices a una bruja, misma que de acuerdo a algunos investigadores del fenómeno OVNI sigue rondando los cielos de esta ciudad.
Aunque tras analizar mejor los movimientos de la curiosa imagen, llegaron a una nueva y sofisticada teoría.
De manera personal, yo me inclino a pensar que se trata de una entidad extraterrestre. Y esta entidad extraterrestre va montada prácticamente sobre un aparato individual para volar.
Con esta nueva hipótesis acudimos a buscar la opinión de una conocida astrónoma y su respuesta fue contundente.
No hay evidencia, lástima.
Concluyó que cuando no se puede probar la naturaleza de un objeto, la gente suele ponerle rostro y nombre según sus experiencias previas, lo que podría haber ocurrido en este caso.
Vamos a suponer que usted y yo queremos hacer lo mismo. Entonces, mis antenitas de marciano, que digo, ¿cómo sabe usted que yo no soy extraterrestre? A ver, ¿cómo sabe? Si yo tengo aquí mis antenas de marciano. Pruébeme lo que no soy extraterrestre.
Pero entonces, ¿qué es eso que parece seguir rondando los cielos de Monterrey?
Como lo dije una vez, en el misterio, todas las posibilidades están abiertas.
Contract with the devil. We went to a tarot card reading, and when I went to the tarot card reading, as a little boy, at 10 years old, we went in. The lady that was doing the tarot card, the witch lady that was doing the tarot card reading, she got fascinated. Her eyes was fixed on me, and she told this boy, we want him, we want him, we want him. The reachers, which is Santeria, want him. Spiritualism, which is spiritualism, espiritismo in Spanish. Santeria is they call it worship of the saint, but it's not worship of the saints, worship of demons. We want him, and if you don't give it to us, he's going to lose his eyesight in 30 days. So my mother was so desperate as a mother. My mother sold her furniture. My mother sold her bed. She sold her bedroom set to get $250 to do my first ceremony, because this lady put so much fear in us, so much fear in my mother, that my mother had to sleep in the floor because there was no bedroom for her to sleep into, because she didn't want me to lose my eyesight. So they initiated me to the dark side at the age of 10 years old. So the first love, the first encounter I had as a 10-year-old boy with the devil showed up and took the offering of giving my life to him, and they put 5 beads around my neck, the 5 worst the 5 worst demons of principalities that are under Satan. They put them right under my neck, which is Santeria. They put them right under my neck, and they said, these are going to be your spiritual guys, and this is going to be your guardian angels, and they're going to take care of your life from now on. This is the building, this corner building here. It used to be almost abandoned, this corner building here. It's in the book. That I used to go up and down. Me and my brother used to go get the water and the pump. We got the pump right there. All the apartment was all empty. The apartments, all the apartment was abandoned. Over here, only me, my family, and 2 other families lived here. And my whole childhood was stolen. My whole childhood was worshiping the devil, going to demon church. I would go to demon church from 7 in the evening to 5 in the morning, being trained by witches and warlocks, colors, principle, rights. Who owns this region? Who's in this region? Who's running this principality? What principality name is this? I had how to channel powers. At the age of 13 years old, I was astral projecting my body. I would leave my body home and go to regions and go into the spirit realm and curse dark side, curse neighborhoods, put spirit of prostitution, spirit of drugs into the neighborhood, homosexuality spirits here, demonic spirit here, spirit of murder, spirit of suicide. I know how to channel all those spirits into the neighborhood. At the age of 15, 16 years old, I was going into hospitals and putting death in ICU, death in one room, so this person couldn't die, because I wanted to be promoted with the devil to promote.
Or the house light, they don't want it.
Curtis Kelly used voodoo to his advantage, but was also attacked by the same demons which gave him money and power. Kelly became aware of his own father's involvement in an occult club which practiced astral projection.
My father's friends, they were very demonic. They come from a very demonic elite club. Everybody couldn't join or be involved with that club. You had some doctors, you had some lawyers and judges and people of high esteem in the community were involved with this occultic club. My father was one of the ringleaders of this. And I remember many times in the middle of the night, I would hear downstairs. We had up and downstairs house, and I would hear a party going on downstairs, and I wanted to be involved with it. And so I would get up and I would go downstairs, down the flight of stairs, and when they would hear me coming down the stairs, they would say, "Oh, here he comes, here he comes," and they would. I would see as their feet and everything went right through the wall, solid wall. And I said, wait a minute, how is that possible? And so they would come back again, and so I said, okay, I'm going to sneak down there and see who these people are. And my father would be entertaining them, and they would be partying, smoking, drinking, laughing, making all kinds of noise. But when they would hear I'm getting close, they would say, oh, here we come. And each time I come, I would see more of them. And they could actually just come right to the wall. They could astral project, come right to the wall. It was no problem to them. Now, be it in their physical body or spiritual form, I'm not quite sure, but I know they can do it. And there's many people out there that can still do that to the demonic realm. That's what those people were. They have sold themselves out 100% to where they can astral project and they can go from one place to another. That's why when you want to go overseas, make sure you know the principalities, powers, and everything in those regions before you go there, because in some parts of the world, there's those priests, those shamans, and those voodoo priests, and the witches, and Santeria, and all the people that practice Obeya and all that stuff. Those people are the higher level of witchcraft. They literally can get on their cedar broom and fly, or levitate. They can do all of those things without an airplane, without a helicopter or anything. They just when they want to go somewhere, they just go. They just go in there, whether in the body or not. I'm not quite sure how they do it, but that's the group my father was running with. I never actually seen my father do it, but I know when he was there, he disappeared too.
One day, Kelly became aware of how powerful and deadly evil curses can be.
My grandmother, I love my grandmother, and one particular day I was walking through the projects and I heard an argument going on. I said, oh, who's this arguing? You know me, I was always in for a good fight. I said, who's fighting? You know, not too much to see girls or ladies fight, you know, but they did fight in our neighborhood too. And I recognized his voice from a distance, from a half a block away. I said, that's not like my grandmother. And she was giving somebody what for, too. She was giving it to him. Oh, boy. And so I got in closer to see what was going on, because it was always taught to stay out of grown people's business. You know, don't get into the business of adults. So we were taught that. So they said, if you see adults arguing, you stand back and you don't say anything. You know, so I did. I just stood back in the back a little bit as they were going forth. And there was a man there. He was saying something to my grandmother. I had never seen this man before. I didn't know who he was, because I thought I knew everybody. There's 5,000 families in the projects, and I knew everybody between New York and Connecticut. So I figured, no, I knew everybody. I didn't know who this guy was, arguing with my grandmother. So I didn't say anything, and I just stood back and watched. And they were going at it. I mean, they were going at it. My grandmother was little, but boy, she was holding her ground with this guy. And then she said something. She did her fingers a certain way, and she said, I'm going to curse you. And she did one of these numbers, and she threw her hand, and she said some words that I'm never going to say those words. But she said those words, and that man fell over backwards. Bang, he fell over, hit the concrete real hard. And I looked at that, wow. I called her Mama. I said, Mama, I didn't know you had that kind of power. I want that too, you know? And so I said those words that she said. I stood there in the background, way over there, about 10, 15, 20 feet away. She didn't know I was there. And I said those same words she said. And I saw something start spinning, like a tornado started spinning, just like this. And it started spinning faster and faster, and I looked there, and it came like this, and right inside of me. And I said, oh my God, what did I do? And then something was inside, it was still kept spinning inside of me. And I got so scared, I ran in the house, wasn't that far from my house. I ran in the house, and I saw my brothers and sisters and everybody there, and I was trying to explain to them what was going on. And said something, I kept saying, something's in me, something in me. What's in you? I said, I don't know, something's in me. Get it out, get it out. Something's in me, get it out. I said, oh, you crazy, there's nothing in you. What's in you? So I said, it's inside, something's inside me. I said, all right, nothing inside of you. So that night, one of my uncles, he had a drinking problem real bad. He and I was real close. My dad and I weren't close to my uncle. He sort of raised me. But everything my dad was showing me bad, he tried to show me good stuff. And so, but he had a drinking problem, and he was drunk. He laid on the floor, and I laid down there next to him because he was my protector and my buddy, you know. He still is. He's still alive, so I still love my uncle. And I laid there, and next thing I know, I hear that spinning thing coming. Now it's coming again, middle of the night. It's coming again. And I said, Unc, wake up. Something's happening. Wake up. And he was so drunk, he couldn't even lift his own head. He said, what's wrong, nephew? I said, something wrong, Uncle, something wrong, something spinning inside of me. And the next thing I know, the closet door opened up, and out stepped this big old green thing with wings. And he stepped on my arm. I tried to get under my uncle, and I was trying to hide, but this big old green creature stepped on my arm and stopped me from moving. And I started to scream, and I was yelling, and nobody was helping me. My uncle was drunk. That started a whole new thing from those words my grandmother was doing, putting the curse. When the Bible says, bless and curse not, because when you curse, you be cursed at the same time. A lot of people don't know that. It's better not to curse and forgive than to try to repay cursing for cursing, because when you curse, it comes right back on you automatically, because what you've done, you open the door.
When it came to curses,
people go from the city over, it's a demon right here. There's a demon that runs the gates of hell. This is the one I was telling you about, that is in my book. It's right here. It's a demon. Here's another one. This is the demon that runs Haiti. Principality over Haiti. One is over there, principality over Islam. Now look at this. The truth. Isn't that funny? The truth will set you free. I mean, ain't this a joke? They put it up there so people can think that they're part of this.
what is this place?
This is the Botanica. This is the place that everyone in the Bronx come here to buy the ingredients to do witchcraft and hurt people and kill people. This is the place. We can go inside. Come on, let's see if we can find something. If I tell you I was going to kill you in 30 days, you prepare your funeral, you was going to die in 30 days. If you, I don't care who you were, I don't care who you knew, I don't care what you call yourself. If you were Catholic and you say you were Christian and you say you were a believer, I was going to kill you. Unless you had a real relationship with Jesus Christ. And the lady that lived downstairs, she came up and she told me, my husband is cheating. I want you to kill the woman that she's cheating with. Put a witchcraft spell on her and kill her. How much you charge me? I said, well, come back. I'm going to speak to the devil, my daddy, and I'll let you know. Come back in a couple of days. So the lady came back. The devil told me what to buy. He said, buy a coffin box, buy 21 black candles, buy an image of the lady, put her in the box, you know, to do the witchcraft, to kill this lady. So we were going to do her for 21 days. She was going to die. After 21 days, we were going to do her funeral. So when the lady came to me, I said, I'm going to charge you $10,000. I told her to kill the lady. She said, sure. She said, I tell you what, I know you. You've been good to me. I go to your house parties. Give me $7,000. I'll give you 30% off. I said, I'll kill her. I give me 30%. I take 30% off the 10. Give me $7,000. So when the lady was going to leave my house, she said, by the way, she's a Christian. She said, the lady's a Christian. I said, I'll kill her for free. I said, I don't need the money. I said, I'm going to kill her for free. I'm going to teach these Christians a lesson that they're going to learn. I'll kill her for free. I told her, I don't want your money. I'll kill her for free. So I did the voodoo thing. I did the witchcraft thing. And 21 days went by. The lady didn't die. A month went by. The lady didn't die. And I was like, wow, you know, what's going on? I mean, my reputation's online. So I called the devil. I called the demons that was son. I increased the witchcraft. I increased the witchcraft. I doubled the witchcraft on it so she can die like overnight. Nothing was going on. Nothing was going on. I was home at night and the devil shows up. And I feel the presence of the devil comes into my house. And then the devil told me, we have to abort the plan of the lady that you want to kill. And I said, why would we want to abort the plan? My reputation on the line. I'm a witch. I'm a warlock. If I don't kill the lady, they're going to think that I don't have any powers. The devil said, you don't understand. The God that she serves said, don't leave her alone. Don't touch her. And I said, who's this God? She said, the God that she serves. So I was so angry. I said, no, but let's get one more week. Let's kill her. And he said, no, the God that she serves said, leave her alone. From the witchcraft that I did to the lady, she should have been dead in less than 20.
Because what you've done, you opened the door.
When it came to curses, Kelly didn't hesitate to use them, even on his own friends.
The Davis brothers went to a revival meeting, and we were friends, and I didn't like the idea that they went to church, because after all I'd been through, the church was an enemy. People in the church were weak, and to me, I thought they were weak and cowards and wouldn't fight, and that's how we were in the street. So when I saw them, I felt like they were abandoning us, the rest of us, to go on chasing after this Jesus thing. And when I would see them come back, and they would minister to a lot of our other friends because they were excited about being saved, and they would tell the rest of the guys, saying, you need to stop these drugs and stuff and come and get saved. Well, if they get saved, I lose a lot of customers. I said, I'm gonna send some curses after them, some spirits to curse them, to stop them, slow them down. And so these little spirits, I called them up. They came up out of the ground, and I told them, I said, I'm sending you over here, and I want you to go over there and stop these guys. A warning, I'm giving them a warning. I want you to terrorize them, torment them, night and day, 24 hours a day, till they come back out here in the streets with us. So I sent this little one about so big. He went over there, and he came back, and he says, I can't do nothing to them, they're protected. And I told that spirit, I said, what did I tell you to do? I told you to go destroy them. He went out again. And it came back and said, I told you, I can't touch them, they're protected. So I said, get out of here. I sent him, you back down to the floor where you come from. So another one, I said a bigger one this time, a little bigger than about that size. And I said, now you go and do what that other one, he didn't do. I said, you go and destroy them. You go, you tear everything up, you tear their house up, you tear their mama up, you tear their cars up, set the house on fire with them in it. Do everything I tell you to do. You better not fail. So that spirit disappeared and it went. Then I waited for a few days, and that spirit came back with a sad look on his face, and I said, did you do what I told you to do? He said, I can't touch them. Just like the other one told you, we can't touch them, they're protected. And I got mad at him, I brushed him off. Then I astral projected out of my body, left my body at one place, and I went into another place. And when I got there, I found exactly what it was, like a snap of a finger. And when I got there, there was 2 8-foot-tall angels with a flaming sword. They looked like they had been working out in the gym. They was tough. And I stood around the back of a telephone pole and I peeked out at them. I said, man, I see why them little imps couldn't do nothing. Wow. Then I went back into myself. And, man, these guys, wow. They got some serious power, man. My God, they got some power behind them.
I thought it was my mind, but I was just looking at it and a demon would lift it right up off the table. You see, when you have demons in your body, they know your thoughts. When you're a black magician, all you have to do is think something and the demons go to work. They go carry out your will. As long as you're offering onto them blood, your own life, the life of others. If other people are offering onto demons on your behalf, like in this case, like someone like Dynamo, who's a magician, he might be backed by high-level Satanists that are looking to use him to deceive many young people into focusing on practicing magic and all this stupid junk. So what they'll do is they'll do sacrifices on his behalf to power him up. If you notice, he always has beads on his arm. Santeria beads, demonic beads on one of his arms, either his right or left arm. This is common when you see someone using witchcraft power, has these beads or a handkerchief or some kind of object that carries their power that they got from a witch doctor. You've seen me talk about Ubered Angel. He uses a handkerchief. Other people use little idols. Anything they've offered onto the gods that have been in power. These people who are these front men like Dynamo, Ubered Angel, any kind of satanic witch, any kind of false prophet, anyone working with demon power, they get these objects from people who are communing with the spirits all the time and offering blood and doing witchcraft. So they actually will go, in Africa they'll go buy these powers from a witch doctor, and you're going to see that in my next video that I'm putting up, or it'll be up in a day or two. That's going to be the one I'm doing on how Satan... No, actually, I'm putting one up after this that's going to be on how Satan's discrediting the deliverance ministry. And after that, I'm going to do one on satanic debaucheries, just messes that are going on all around the world in the name of Satan. And back to what I was saying here. When I had these powers, when I had these demons in my body before I was saved, things were levitating off the table. Now, there are people that Satan can't trust with that power. Like somebody like me, I can't keep my mouth shut. Like I have to tell people the truth, whether I like it or not. Everything's out on the table. Even when I was a criminal, I would tell people, I'm a criminal, I'm going to rob you, you know that. And I would then just do it. I never hid who I was. But what I'm trying to say is, when I had these powers, the demons and Satan knew when God was drawing me that I would expose the truth of God and what they were doing, so they tried to kill me. There are people that get these powers that are not children of God, or they grieve God and God just leaves them to the devil, and they start to use these powers and they don't become afraid of them. Most people, like for me, because God convicted me, when things were levitating off the table, he put fear into me. I got afraid. But before that, I was never afraid of anything. I wouldn't have been afraid of demons. I wasn't afraid of astral projecting. But when God came, I got afraid. So when the things levitated off the table, rather than me keeping it to myself and using those powers to my own success or to my own advantage against people or in witchcraft or whatever, I got scared and I turned to God. People like Dynamo don't do that. People like Dynamo were either, like I said, chosen, and they've been warned that they're going to get these gifts, and they keep him away from God. They keep him around celebrities, all people who are demonized. You'll notice he does most of his tricks right on the road, real quick with strangers, or when he does the bigger tricks, there's actually a celebrity involved. Because where they're using a lot of demon power, and they have like another, how do you say it, like an assistant, like if he like levitates Lindsay Lohan off a chair, he did that.
Hi everybody, my name's Bob Saunders, and I've come today to speak to you about the dangers of astral projection. Now, I recently put online a video that I called Meditation Basics for Beginners, in which I explained 3 methods of safely contacting going into the meditative state and possibly going into the astral realms and all the rest of it. Now, I want to talk today really about the various videos that I've seen on YouTube concerning how to astrally project easily. Okay, astrally project in 3 easy lessons. You know this, maybe you know the sort of videos that I'm talking about, and I want to give you a warning that this can be very dangerous. Now, I hate doing these sort of videos because I much prefer to talk about positive things, but this is one of these negative things that I must talk about, and I'll just give you a silly little example. If you remember when you were a child, someone would have taught you how to cross a road safely. Whilst they're showing you how to get across the road safely, they're also talking about the dangers if you do it wrongly. Well, this is one of those sort of messages. Now, for those who don't know very much about the etheric and astral realms, I will just give a brief overview of those areas. We're in the 3D world here. All that you see around us we call the 3D world. Your physical body, the planet Earth, the whole galaxy, it's all part of this 3D world. But now, around us we have another set of bodies. They're actually attached to us, and they have various names, but they're very real bodies standing on very real planets in a very real galaxy. It's as if the whole system is repeated a number of times, each one on a slightly different vibration, rather as if you were watching TV and with the telecommand you click and click and click and you change channels. And when you know how, you can go from this body into those other areas. Okay? Now, the etheric body is the one that's closest to us, and it's quite easy actually to see. If you stand and look or sit and look into a mirror and defocus your eyes for a moment, gradually you'll see a sort of a greyish white mist around you. Now that is your etheric body, and the planet Earth and everything on it has an etheric body, as does the whole galaxy. It's the planet Earth repeated in a slightly different vibration, and when you go into it, it actually looks very similar to this, but it's not the same. Although some people, when they first go into that area, think that they're still on planet Earth, they might well be in the etheric version because it looks virtually the same. However, and this is the point, here on Earth, planet Earth, 3D body, we've learnt to be careful, not about good people, they're not the problem. We've learned to be careful about bad people, because we've learned to be able to lock our doors and windows to stop burglars coming in. We've learned to be careful when we drive so that people don't smash into us, or vice versa, that we don't smash into other people. We've learned to be careful that people don't aggress us. Okay, we learn all that. But now, if you go into the etheric world, you're going to go there without any form of protection at all, because it's an area that you're not trained to go into. And so you need to be careful because of the nasty creatures that are there. I won't describe them. They're actually, most of them are actually sort of thought forms. I will just say this: if you consider all the wars, all the hatred, all the unhappiness that there is in the world at the moment, that creates in the etheric world forms that are all jagged and horrible and actually can take a form of life of their own. And although it's not a permanent form of life, it's nevertheless real in that dimension. And if you do one of these exercises where you're lying on a bed and you're learning how to click out of your body into your etheric body, or you're listening to these musical tones, whatever frequency the teacher might suggest you listen to, and once again you click into your etheric body, you'll find yourself wandering about in that area, and you may sooner or later be attacked by one of these creatures that's there. And then when you come back to your real body, you'll have this thing still attached to you. and it's bad news and often quite difficult to get rid of. So already that's not a good idea to go into that area unless you've got real spiritual guides with you that are protecting you, because you'll be just like a child wandering about in there and won't know what's going to hit you. Now, I'm going to go on to the next level. We've talked about a physical body, 3-dimensional. We've talked about the etheric body. Now, the next click on the telecommand takes us up into the 4th dimension. The 4th dimension is split into 2. The higher 4th dimension is what we call heaven. That's where the angelic beings start to live, and they go up into the higher and higher dimensions. And also your guides will live there. It's the place where you go when you die. And it's an amazingly beautiful, lovely, peaceful, warm, spiritual warmth, joy, bliss, all the very positive emotions you feel in that area. Now, unfortunately, between us, our etheric body, and that higher 4th dimension is the lower 4th dimension, and that is a bad news area. It's the area that is the opposite of everything that you can think of as being heaven. It's not hell. Hell is just another aspect of the higher 4th dimension. It's just a correctional place that people who've gone off the tracks while they were down here have to go in order to learn that they don't want to go down that road anymore. But it's under control of angels and is part of the higher 4th dimension. The lower 4th dimension is a totally different area, and I'm not going to go into too much detail, but all I want to say is that if you can imagine somewhere that is the opposite of everything that I just mentioned about heaven. It's the opposite of light, it's the opposite of warmth, it's the opposite of joy, bliss, peacefulness, opposite of love. And it's not hate, it's a different emotion, it's weird, it's horrible. Now, the point I'm coming to is that in this area are a lot of very nasty creatures. They're the ones we call demons, jinns, archons. Also, unfortunately, the grey aliens, okay, the little robots are in there as well. You know, the little grey alien robots, the ET things. But behind them are these demonic creatures, I believe, that live there. And when you do this astral projection without any training or any protection, you're going to wander off out of your consciousness here on earth and either into the etheric world or into the low 4th dimension. And you're not going to go into the high 4th dimension, because you can really only do that, unless you're an exceptional person, you can really only do that with a lot of training and help, and it takes years to learn to go into that place safely. But now the lower 4th dimension, oh sorry, Myrtle's just appeared. Sorry about that. She's gone a bit starstruck. I'm thinking of sending her off to Hollywood to appear in a movie. Anyway, I'll leave her here until she annoys me too much. Now, you go into this low 4th dimension. When you come out of your body doing this astral projection thing, you've got no real control over where you're going. You might just go into the etheric world, which is bad enough, it can be dangerous enough, or if you're really unlucky, you might go into this low 4th dimension. And there, almost certainly, because when you go into that area, we don't notice, but we've actually got a light around us, a spiritual light, so that when we go into those dimensions, the creatures that live there see that light in their dark realm that they live in, and they say, oh, there's a Wally here, there's some idiot's come into my realm, and they attach themselves to you to experience life through you down here. So when you return to your body, you bring one of these creatures back with you. And it's really bad news. I don't know if I mentioned, but I'm often consulted by people who have done these experiments. Hang on, I'm going to put the cat down. I'm a bit worried about you making the microphone go funny. I'm often consulted by people that have done these experiments and have got some creature attached to them, and it's not very easy to get rid of them, and so it's better not to get these things in the first place, and they really will upset your life and make life a complete misery for you and all your family. Not at all. Sorry. Now, now I just want to talk about one final thing, and I'm sort of hesitating as I speak about this because sorry, it's a bit chaotic this. Now, I want to talk about channelers. Now, channelers, often, there's a load of videos on YouTube about channelers, and they all have things in common. One of the things is that they all are being contacted by some very, very high angelic being, Archangel Gabriel, Jesus, Prime Creator, and it goes on, and they've all got some strange message of joy, peace and love, and quite often the person who's channeling tends to go into a trance and speak with a funny accent, and the message usually says, oh dearly beloved, we're so happy to be back with you again. We've got a message of peace and love for you. You've had it rough this last period of time, but I'm here to assure you that everything's going to be sunshine and light in the future. And it goes on and on and on like that. Now, that's great, you know. I hope that we are going for a period of sunshine and light, because it has been rough this last few years. But if you listen to it, the message, every time one of these channelers gets one of these messages, it's a variant of the same thing. Now, I don't want to give the impression that I am anybody special, but I'm a trained medium and I'm in touch with my guides, and when they talk to me, first of all, they give me their real names, the names they had here on Earth, and second of all, they talk about sensible things. They talk about, oh, we've just learnt that so-and-so, such a man or a woman somewhere, has got a health problem, and we'd like you to go and do something to help them, and or somebody's got a different sort of problem, and they ask me if I will help in some way or other, and it proves true. When I go and see that person, they say, yes, I have got this problem, and thanks for coming to help me. It's nuts and bolts stuff. It's not all this wishy-washy, you know, oh, everything's going to be sunshine and light. They're here to help in a very real way. Now, once again, I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to suggest that the people that are doing this channeling are not contacting some high being. But I've got a feeling that some of them are in fact either listening to their own mind talking to them, and I know from personal experience when I was first learning to do all this stuff years ago, if your mind talks to you, you'll be the last one to know that it's not coming from somewhere else, because it sounds so real. And we have to learn to differentiate that. Now, it's either coming from their mind, or it's coming from a nature spirit that's playing with them, or it might even be coming, if this thing exists, from some artificial intelligence machine that the grey aliens have put into the astral and etheric worlds to give us this garbage. Okay? Now, please, I don't wish to offend anybody at all. If you're somebody that's doing channeling and you're convinced that it's actually coming from some high angelic being, I'm not saying it isn't. Good luck to you. But be careful. And if you're a person that listens to these things, be careful and analyse what the message is and see if it makes sense to you rather than just placates you and makes you feel happy. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly recapitulate because I've sort of wandered about a bit, as I quite often do. Now, astral projection. You can learn to do it quite easily, but if you're not trained to do it and you don't have guides with you to protect you and help you, sooner or later, going into the etheric or the low astral, low fourth dimension, you will be attacked by something, and that's the last thing you want. Okay, so my advice to you, if you want to learn to meditate and to go into the higher dimensions, is do it properly and sensibly. I've put a video online, meditation basics for beginners, that you can follow if you want, and it will help you because it will be safe to do, or you can follow somebody else, but make sure that the person that's teaching you teaches you how to protect yourself. Okay, that's what I wanted to say. I feel very apologetic that once again this is a negative sort of video, but I think it helps us to have our eyes open and know what we're facing in these astral and etheric realms that we really don't know too much about. Okay, that's what I wanted to say today. Thank you very much for listening. I hope that some of you at least have got something from this. I hope that I haven't offended anybody. And I'll speak to you again another day. Bye.